Hello, everybody. Happy May, not April, but May 1st, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talent in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have the head coach of the Harding football program, Eddie Santiago. Coach Santiago, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me. I look forward to the opportunity.
Now, Coach, before we get into your time with Harding, I want to go back, way back. What started you into becoming a football coach?
I think I had a lot of mentors that I looked up to that were in the coaching business, especially in high school. Two guys that had major influences on me was Damon Lewis, which was our head football coach, and then my wrestling coach, York Mario, was the high school coach there at Harding, and that kind of led me to the two professions that I fell in love with, which was teaching and then wanting to be a coach.
Do you think because of your wrestling background that kind of gave you, I don't want to say an edge, because in football you never have an edge because it's a game, it's a sport, there's always going to be that adjustment each and every day. But do you think the wrestling aspect kind of gave you something to be able to show players depending on their position?
Absolutely. I think that it's the sport that complements the most for football. You talk about tackling, you talk about leverage, finishing and just hand fighting for linemen, and then the will to beat on somebody in front of you, carries over so well. I think my first love was football, and that's how I kind of got founded. The wrestling coach saw me play. I didn't know anything about the sport of wrestling until I got to high school. I knew a lot about football, and he recruited me to wrestle, and it took off from there. I was a small guy. So, I topped out my senior year probably at 140 pounds, knowing that football probably wasn't going to be my avenue as much as I loved it, and just came to the reality that I'll wrestle in college, and I wrestled at Springfield, and, then came back home when I was 23 and was an assistant with one of my coaches. With Coach Mario. And then 2 years after that, I started coaching high school football.
So your first time being as a coach, not so much a head coach, but just a coach, was there any kind of adjustment period for you?
I think being so young, and this is advice that I give to guys that I hire, being so young, you gotta really separate yourself from being their friend, and that's something I had to adjust to. That's something that York Mario kind of molded me with, and you got to really just be the coach, and not really be their friend, because those lines can get hairy. That gray area can be fishy. So that's something advice that I give to the young guys that come in now, and that was given to me when I first started.
And you mentioned Coach Mario a lot, and I can tell he really kind of left an imprint on you. What else did he instill, in you besides making sure that there's a certain boundary between, coach, friend and coach and so on and so forth with the players?
I was a feisty kid growing up and rough around the edges, and he saw that if he could channel some of that stuff in the right direction, I once I started to train and work out, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with that type of work ethic of always kind of doing something every single day to better yourself, every single day to improve whatever it is, whether that be on the mat or that was on the field, and I kind of take that approach in life. Just try to win the day. I'll work the day. And, those two guys, Damon and Coach Mario, were both, like father figures to me. So, it was just that constant every single day, just pushing to get better. And, I coach the same way.
It shows in the coaching style from what I've seen on film from a lot of players, being able to do a little bit of research on, the whole team first, and then kind of going through kind of which players you have returning. There's a couple that I want to go over real quick with you. One of them, Keon Dawkins, who is one of your key running backs, who had the most carries and yards, who was returning. You have to be happy that he's coming back.
Well, we got him for 2 more years, so we're really excited about that. He comes from real good pedigree, good stock. It's I coach his brother. He was a linebacker for me from 2014 to 2015.
That's a nice target because some of the film I watched from him, he was making highlight reel catches. His vertical, man, he can get up.
He can get up. And he get sometimes people see him in his running style. He's very a long galloper, so you don't really see him getting really up on you
Mhm.
until he's on you. Hewlett, a great kid. I think the biggest attribute that young man has is from the neck up. He has a 4.0. I actually taught him in middle school, so I kind of known him for a while now. He's a very bright kid. He's one of the kids that we look forward to potentially playing in the Ivy League at some point. He's going to get those type of offers when it starts rolling around. I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued by his size. He's going to play Mike Backer for us this year. He's about 5'10", 218 pounds, solid kid, and great kid, well spoken, kind of an invert, doesn't branch out too much, which is good for us out here in Bridgeport. So we like that for him. And he's just very smart, man. We really like him a lot. And now he's coming into his own leadership role. He's kind of taking ownership of our defense with Coach Cotto. The Mike is the quarterback of the defense. So we really like that he's going to be the one to step up. You got a 4.0 guy there that could give directions and kind of line us up very fast and call out the set and do multitude of things from sideline to sideline because he's very fast. And we had him down in the dirt last year. I think standing up with this 3-3 stack that we run is going to really aid him. He's going to have fun on that side of the ball.
And that's nice to hear about a kid who has a chance. I mean, anytime you hear about a young man that can go to an Ivy League school, man or woman, they're smart. I think that's pretty, evident of that. And hear about a player who you said to be a quarterback at the defense can kind of depict different things. I mean, it sounds like he's seen every offensive play that could ever be ran as far as high school sports, and that could help out your overall defense, as you mentioned.
So absolutely, we have nothing but time on our hands right now, and he's a student of the game. So him and Coach Cotto think alike in that sense. But time in his hands, like I said, so he's been able to get into that playbook and really decipher it, and also go over a ton of films, watch his films, and he's pretty easy to correct and easy to fix in practice. So, when he comes back, there's going to be no doubt, with that kid at the middle, just what he is going to be a lot of plays within our favor.
Now it's nice, I can really tell, the kind of passion that you have about not just these three players, but just like it seems like I know you love the game of football, but the way you talk about your players, and I'm sure if I asked you about your entire team, you would, as glowingly as you speak of the first player, it would be even the last player on the roster, and I love to see that.
Yeah, I went to Harding High School. I still live in Bridgeport. This is a tough demographic, and the socioeconomics of our place is difficult as well. So, I have a big heart for these guys, and I love all my players. They'll all tell you, it's not a word that I throw around lightly, but with those guys and my staff, I truly love them. And, more than now than ever, you really start to see that with our group meetings and how much they miss us and how much we miss them, and that they want to get back after it and get working out and doing all those things. And we just have tremendous compassion for our youth here because, we go up against a lot here in Bridgeport. A lot of things that people don't see. Some things that you may hear about, but other things that you have no idea right now. And you talk about some of those situations that may be happening. School is a safe haven. Football is a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
The more that they are engaged, the less likely they're going to be in the street. So we find a way to keep them as active and busy as possible as we can. So when they're home, that's it. They're ready to go to bed. get their meal and go to bed. So, we definitely got that love for our players, and, I have the greatest job in the world, man. I have the greatest job in the world.
Especially as a football coach, you're kind of in a lot of ways, and I hate to say this, but a lot of these kids will not play at the next level because not everybody can go play college sports. That's just the name of the game. 1% can be able to go do that as far as Division One. Now, 2 and 3, it's a little bit different, but the point I'm trying to make is, and you see it, you're trying to make sure that these young men are ready for life, not so much about what they can do in college as far as playing football, but preparing them for their next journey after they graduate from Harding.
Yeah, so we probably have. I could pull it up here. I think I have it on my computer, real quick. But we've had a bunch of guys that like you said, college football is not for them. But through wrestling and football in the last 15 years, we have about 75 kids that went on to the next level, whether that be Division One, that be Division Two, that be Division Three. The other part about it is that we have a lot of our kids that go on to the military and provide our service for our country. So that's something that we're extremely proud of as well. And that may not be always the case for everybody else. Some colleges for everybody as well as so them going to a technical school somewhere else to pursue their dreams is always encouraged. So we don't want to limit our players just to colleges to go for us, but we understand that different walks of life will bring you to different places and they'll take you on your own path. We just want to make sure that when you take that path and you set upon your journey, that you're ready as a young man and you're conducting yourself like a president wherever you go. And we want to instill work ethic in you, pride, and that brotherly love for the next guy.
Man, I'm telling you right now, if I was 14 again and I was in Bridgeport, I'd want to go play for you. Seriously,
I
man.
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
I mean, you're getting me going, and I'm telling you right now, I would suck at football, not very good, but I love what you're doing. I really admire how much, and I say this to coaches, and almost all the coaches, I should say, a lot of them in Connecticut are in it for the right reasons. They're trying to help the youth, not so much because of the sport, but because they want to make sure that they can make a better life after school beyond the game of sports. And the way that you're using it to teach it and to show them the adversity and what life can, basically throw at you, like what we're dealing with right now with the quarantine, it sounds like you're the right man for the job. Seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
No problem, Coach. I really do appreciate the time. There's one more question I want to ask you. If and when, and we'll go with when, because we want to play with a glass half full approach here.
Absolutely.
What should people expect for the next football season for Harding?
I think we are going to be very explosive on offense. I think this is the first year that between me and Coach Cotto that we complement each other so well. This is his fourth year coming into with me. I believe we're third or fourth year coming in with me. And we've installed this new defense recently, and it's we're very high pace on the offensive side of the ball. And I think our defense, getting familiar with Coach and the things that he wants to do on that side are going to make us that much better. It's a turnover defense, which I'm ecstatic about because we want the ball back. So
what kind of defense is that?
We're running a 3-3 stack.
3-3 stack?
Yep.
Okay. Only because, like I mentioned, I'm talking to Coach Cotto tomorrow, and I want to make sure I have all the dirt, try to impress a little bit on the defensive side. I like that.
So, so I think it's going to complement us well. I think just with our speed, we're always going to be, well, the thing that was happening in Bridgeport, I think that we were always looked at the skill positions, and we always kind of had those guys. Those guys that, that's what we got. We got a lot of athletes, but you need a line to play the game. And we've been fortunate enough in the last couple of years to not have an issue there and have depth. I think that speaks volumes of our program. And if you look at our program in that sense, we've been offered more Division I scholarships at the offensive line position than any other position. Then that's a credit to our offensive line coach, Coach Contreras, and Coach Spoon. You know, those guys have done well with our offensive line. But it's an area that, you know, we feel that we're good at. This is a staple within our program. So I think that strikes fear within our opponents. I think they used to look at Harding and, you know, we're at the point where we've been at 4-6 the last 2 years, and we really feel that we're about to get over that hump and, you know, go over 500. And we could have easily been there last year. I really think we were a 7-3 team, and we made mistakes. We made young mistakes. But these guys are guys that have been in our program, been with Coach now 3 or 4 years now, that we kind of understand what we want from them and how we want things done. So it's a good thing right now. We're in a good spot. We're in a real good spot.
It sounds like Harding's in, you know, the right place with the right coach, and I think at the right time, especially with what's going on. You know, you're the right man for the job to be able to keep the troops together. You have the right coaching staff. And you know what, Coach? Thanks so much for being able to come on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Thank you.
You're always welcome to come on anytime. Seriously.
Yes, sir.
Now, wrap
Look
things up
forward
here on
to
the
it.
Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.